Okinawa would be the longest and largest battle of the Pacific War. Men struggled and fought and bled in an environment so degrading I believed we had been flung into hell's own cesspool.
It's an epic battle. It's going to be the greatest air, navy, and ground battle in world history.
The island of Okinawa was attacked for two purposes. First of all, to secure a staging area for an invasion of Japan, but most importantly, to support a huge airbase complex, both for strategic bombing of Japan and for a large fleet of tactical aircraft that were designed to support the initial invasion.
It was very close to Japan. I think it was less than 350 miles away. And the airfields on Okinawa would be tremendous help to our Air Force.
General Schmidt, other generals, told him that they could expect on the landing 80 to 85% casualties. That must have sent cold chills up their spine.
I was scared silly. When they said it was going to take 4 days to get up to that airfield, I thought, oh man, this is going to be bad business. We fully expected murderous resistance. And we got it later.
Our first month, we never did run into any organized resistance. And then on May the 1st, we relieved the 27th Army Division, and all hell started.
We were resigned only to the fact that the Japanese would fight to total extinction on Okinawa, as they had elsewhere, and that Japan would have to be invaded with the same gruesome prospects.
It's always seen as the paramount suicide fight of the war because of the kamikaze attacks on the fleet that brought the Army and the Marines to Okinawa.
Kamikazes were the great killer of the last year of the war in the Pacific. Almost 4,000 Japanese aviators would be killed in kamikaze attacks. It was the final mark to Americans that the Japanese were totally and utterly beyond the pale.
Japan knows it can't win the war, so it has one last chance. This is it. One last chance to convince the Americans of the cost they're going to have to pay if they invade the homeland.
Here we're right in their backyard. And the last thing they want to do now is lose Okinawa. And they did everything they possibly could do to stop us.
The increasing dread of going back into action obsessed me. It became the subject of the most torturous and persistent of all the ghastly war nightmares that have haunted me for many, many years. The dream is always the same. Going back up to the lines during the bloody month of May on Okinawa.
The island itself was one ridge and then a valley and another ridge. One ridge, a valley and another ridge. And there was always opposition on that ridge. You never hit a ridge that you didn't get opposition from.
The Japanese have high ground, and they also have more artillery on Okinawa than they had in any battle in the Pacific.
With 243 men in K Company, only 15 of the original veterans were still around to walk away without injury.
In late May, the rains came, and they're so strong that the tanks can't get up anymore, and the LVTs can't get up, and the churning of all of their digging and fighting has left them just sitting in a gigantic mud pile.
The Marines take great pride in never leaving their dead behind and burying their dead with solemnity, but you couldn't do that at Okinawa.
The rains were so constant and the mud so deep, they couldn't get the Amtraks in there without getting stuck to get the bodies out.
It was a wrenching day-to-day issue as to what sort of effort should be made to recover the dead and give them proper burial at the possible expense of the lives of other Marines.
Many of our men were lost to what was clinically called combat fatigue, but frankly, it just meant cracking up.
There's a higher percentage of psychiatric casualties on Okinawa than in any battle in the Pacific.